We got some stuff to watch here. Basically, I don't know shit about like supply chains and our current economic situation where we're seeing things just skyrocket in cost. Like groceries, I went grocery shopping the other day. They're just out of control. What little I bought and how much it cost me. And
once it gets to a certain price, it kind of stays there and only goes up.
Inflation really only works one way. You know?
Gas is up and down. I gotta wonder. They say that the prices of all this shit will go down once they get all this shit worked out. You know what I mean? But
what shit are we talking about? Well, let's find out. This is exactly what I want to find out about.
By Hover.
This video, I'm not for certain. I haven't watched any of these, so I don't quite know. But this one's called "Why There Are So Many Shortages." So a problem is supply. I think I may have talked about this a bit in the Strikeway video about how there are labor shortages, and particularly at ports and whatnot. That's causing, if you've seen any of the videos or images of all of the ships in the harbors that just can't dock and unload their ware, well, excuse me, it has a ripple effect down the line. So, see if
This video was made possible by Hover. Get 10% off your first purchase of a custom domain or email address
I'm gonna mute
at
the mic for a second.
hover.com/Wendover. COVID-19, that's the answer. That's what caused all the shortages of 2020 and 2021. That's it. COVID-19 caused these shortages in the same way that an iceberg caused the Titanic to sink, or the collapse of Lehman Brothers caused the Great Recession, or the straw broke the camel's back. That's really to say, COVID did cause these shortages. They would not have happened in the manner they did when they did, if not for the pandemic. But just as the Titanic's design flaws would eventually lead to calamity, the vulnerabilities in the global economy would eventually lead to a recession, and something would eventually break the overloaded camel's back, COVID caused these shortages, but it's not what made them possible. What made them possible is a fundamental structural vulnerability in the way today's supply chains work. On April 13th, 2021, Boba Bliss, a small bubble tea shop in Dublin, California, posted on Facebook. They explained that they were having a hard time getting their ingredients, and that this would mean their menu would have to change daily, reflective of what they could actually get from their supplier. On April 15th, Mighty Boba in Canandaigua, New York, explained on Facebook that they would have to serve a smaller quantity of tapioca pearls in each drink and would no longer be offering extra as an option due to a shortage.
Not a fan of that shit, dude.
Me either. I
think it's the most nasty shit ever.
It always grosses me out.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want weird solid particles in my drink.
So sick, dude.
It's like somebody chewed up and spit out my
Across the country, shops
just big
popular Taiwanese
globs of goo.
Is this video all about boba tea?
No shit, this guy is like sweet.
in demand.
A boba tea shortage is really ruining our economy.
In Taiwan, where much of the world's bubble tea ingredients are made, things were operating fairly normally. With single-digit daily case numbers for much of COVID's reign, factories on the island were able to work at full force in a way they couldn't elsewhere, but still, somehow, Boba Bliss, Mighty Boba, Bing's Boba Tea, Tea Hut, and thousands of other
Boba
shops
Fett.
Boba? Why isn't that a boba tea
I know.
shop?
I can guarantee you there probably was one.
Yeah.
Disney put it out.
That's what was happening here, in the waters off the coast of Los Angeles. Throughout the first half of 2021, a rotating cast of dozens of cargo ships have dotted the Pacific's horizon. Each sat there, at anchor, sometimes for weeks, until a spot opened for them at the port of Los Angeles or Long Beach. This is abnormal. While the year prior it was possible for a ship or two to have to wait a day or two, it was never dozens of ships for dozens of days. Transit time from Taiwan to Los Angeles typically takes about 2 weeks, so an additional 10 days of waiting represents a near doubling of shipping times. The root cause of this was, of course, a perfect pandemic-fueled storm. As the 2020 holiday season approached, more people were getting back to work in the US, consumer spending was ticking up, and online shopping was exploding. With limited access to travel, restaurants,
Music is a
shows,
little
and other
melancholy
services,
for what he's
physical products were one of the few ways people could
This music
spend
is
their
very
discretionary
sad.
Yeah.
It's like while watching the Hulk.
than ever were coming from factories in Asia, and 49.1% of those imports to the US passed through one of just 2 ports, Los Angeles, and Long Beach. Compared to a year prior, before COVID hit the US in earnest, February 2021 saw a 31% increase in ships and a 49% increase in container traffic at these two ports. They just couldn't keep up. Simultaneously, however, a significant tranche of dock workers were constantly out sick due to COVID itself or the quarantine procedures it demanded. But the disorder doesn't end there. While a year ago, a 20-foot container would cost about $1,800, they now run for $3,500. There's a regional shortage of shipping containers that's having global consequences. You see, in 2020, just as much of the world entered lockdowns, China's manufacturing industry was emerging from it. The entire world bought masks, personal protective equipment, and regular goods from the country, and once those containers arrived in ports like Long Beach, they were unloaded. However, due to those destination countries' lockdowns, there wasn't really much that needed to be shipped out. For every 100 containers that are imported into the US, only 40 are exported. So containers stacked up in the places they weren't needed because they weren't needed, and they didn't make it back to places where they were, like Asia. In the case of the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, their capacity crunch means they don't even have the time to justify loading ships with empty containers for return to Asia. Not only that, but a shortage of truck drivers in the US means that it's tough to actually get empty containers back from their final destinations to ports to send them back to Asia. So a shortage...
So he just kind of brushes over that. That's something that I was made aware of earlier today, is that there are a lot of truck drivers that just said, fuck this, and stopped driving. Like, that's a whole other video that probably needs to be talked about too, but that is a contributing factor, is that we just don't have the number of trucks on the road right now transporting goods, because a lot of truckers were fed up with, the trucking is tough. I know a trucker, oddly enough, and it does not sound fun. It sounds fucking terrible. And if you don't get, they generally make good pay, but I mean, it's just it takes a lot to do it, and eventually the pay won't be worth it, especially if you have to deal with, the possibility of getting sick. If you do get sick, dealing with whatever you have to deal with lockdown procedures and protocols and all of that, plus, maybe you're not making as much because you're not transporting as much on top of that. It's like, I mean, I don't really know, but I could certainly foresee a situation where all of that can lead to, truck drivers deciding to bail on the job. And that's something where I genuinely don't know if that'll ever come back for them, because they're making some pretty good strides on self-driving trucks too.
I think that's honestly the combo of things. I think they're just kind of reading the writing on the wall. Yeah, it sucks now, and they're like, honestly, I'm going to do this for maybe 2 more years, 3 more years, and then those Tesla trucks are going to be driving themselves. The minute that happens is the minute people are like, okay, buddy, it's like, I could retrain now. I mean, a lot of them probably were like, well, shit, we got this COVID, these COVID benefits. Maybe I should learn how to fucking do something else, in this downtime. Or maybe that's what a lot of them are doing. I have no idea. I don't know what everybody's doing that's quitting all their jobs.
The Great Resignation.
They essentially cut the benefits off. So it's not like people are getting benefits. They're just like rather do nothing. I mean, maybe they're all streaming. Maybe they're all playing video games on Twitch.
Well, I mean, we have a video to watch about that later on too, but I think a lot of people are just like, well, there's a couple of things. There are a lot of people that are quitting, and I think those people are probably people that are financially in a situation where they can't quit. Yeah. But then there are also just a lot of people that are out of work, and they don't want to take jobs they don't want to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, we were up in Dallas, and we were at a restaurant. That's one of my favorite restaurants in Dallas. I've been going there for years, and the guy was complaining. He's like, man, you can't get anyone to show up for work. He's like, we're down staff. I have to close parts of the restaurant, and this and that. And my mom's husband is a restaurateur, and stuff. And his attitude when he was hearing about it was just kind of like, it's just a shame. Is people just don't want to work there anymore. I was like, yeah, but I mean, maybe they're just paying shit wages. I mean, it's in Texas, you make $2.13 an hour, and well, you get tips. I was like, that's if they tip.
If they tip.
You know what I mean? And essentially,
and the tips don't matter if they don't have the influx of people coming into the restaurant.
Well, yeah, and honestly, it's like in a burger restaurant.
Yeah,
it's like you might be working your ass off, and maybe you make an extra. I mean, maybe you clear $10 an hour with tips, or maybe you do better than that. But the thing is that some of the time you're not going to do better than that. In any given shift, you're going to have like 2 or 3 hours of productivity. Say you've got 4 or 5 tables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In those 2 or 3 hours, you might have I don't know, 20 customers or something like that, and I mean, things are more expensive than they used to be. But I mean, I worked at Bennigan's and Fridays and Chili's and all back in the day, and they're like, late 90s, early 2000s. And man, I mean, there were some times where I would walk $50 in a shift, for a 5-hour or 6-hour shift. That was like rare.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I would walk with like $30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that like that working for tips, I mean, that's kind of like the embodiment of that Steinbeck quote, or
it's the worst.
Yeah, it's the temporarily embarrassed millionaire thing. It's like the idea, the promise that you're gonna have a banger of a shift and walk out with like $500 tips, Now extrapolate that throughout like the 5 nights a week that you work or whatever, and that's what it's going to be like all the time. And it's like, no, you'll have that maybe a couple of times, but more often than not, it's going to probably be just regular traffic and bad tippers.
The thing is like it depends on where you
you're
work.
Working
too.
off, and it does depend.
I mean,
on
if you work at like a decent, like a nice restaurant,
like Fogo de Chao or something.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, although I don't know how they do it there because they don't have like waiters there, it's self-serve. But like Ruth Chris,
it's not self-serve.
Well, I mean, you go and you get. Well, they bring it around.
They bring it around, yeah.
There's a big.
But
like,
there is a
waiter
there though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like, it's been a while since I've been there. Yeah. I'm thinking of the other one. I've never been to Fogo de Chao. The other one over here, Estancia.
I've never been to Estancia.
Yeah. It's similar, but yeah, there's people that bring stuff around, and and there's like a salad.
But I mean, even like an Eddie V's or something.
Yeah, like an Eddie V's. Like, it would be a good example, or Trulux, or Ruth Chris, or like one of those joints that are really expensive here, Perry's or some shit. It's like, if you work there and you have a decent night, you're making bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have and that's great. But man, if you work at like fucking like the place I went, it was a burger place. You know what I mean? It's like a Chili's or
like Applebee's in the middle of Odessa, Texas, or something.
Yeah, or Outback Steakhouse, or any one number of corporate restaurants that's food is around like $11. You know what I mean? Like $8 to $12 for most of their entrees. Man, it's tough. You're gonna have a lot of days where you didn't make anywhere near $10 an hour. You know what I mean? And it's just the thing is that like I don't know if these places would be able to be in business if they had to just pay their people a living wage. Like if they said like we don't do tips anymore, and all waiters make $18 an hour or $17 an hour. If they couldn't stay in business like that, like, well, I couldn't stay in business. I don't know. I don't have anything financial.
I feel like they've done that in a few cities. I mean, I guess it would depend on the region that you do that in. Like, I don't know if you can get away with that, like some of the poorer regions, some of the less populous areas. Well, but I feel like they did that maybe in Seattle and maybe experimented with that in New York.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that when you think about it, really, the food, like, what they're doing is they're having you subsidize their labor costs.
Yeah.
When you work for $2.13 an hour in tips, and it's been $2.13 an hour. It still is. It's been that way
since like the 90s.
Yeah, since I was a waiter.
Yeah. Which is unconscionable.
It's
in my
a fucking
view.
joke and a half. It's insane that's the case. But the thing is that like when you go to a restaurant where the waiter's making $2.13 an hour in tips and you're expected to tip. And I always tip, obviously, even if it's bad service, because I understand they're not making any money. If I ate and and there wasn't like a fucking knife sticking blade side up in my food that I just happened to, I'll tip. But the thing is that restaurateur is basically having me pay the salary of his staff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Me and everybody else. And it's like, nah, man. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, because in a lot of respects, why open a restaurant then if you can't have if you can't have your customers also be your labor to a certain extent, like they're the ones paying for your labor's cost, that reduces your overhead dramatically.
Yeah, totally.
That's a money-making venture right there. It's a huge scam.
Yeah, and maybe you can't afford to have a restaurant. I was like, well, then people will do less restaurants. It's like, there'll still be restaurants.
There will still be restaurants, absolutely.
Because it's just that it's an.
It's like the idea that people will suddenly not want food. You know, it's like there'll be food.
Maybe it'll be more expensive. You know, maybe you have to pay a little bit more. The thing is, it doesn't really matter. At least it would be off the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be baked into the price of what you're getting, and there wouldn't be any surprises or any question or any bullshit. For the waiters, it would cut an entire swath of people out that they would, that are basically waiting to fuck them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, as a waiter, there were some tables where these guys aren't going to tip. And there are some tables that you would never expect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they leave, and it's like you get you did great service, it was a great experience, and you get like $1 or $2, and you're like, fuck, man. And the thing is like, maybe it's not even that the people that were there didn't think that you did good service. Maybe they think that's what you're supposed to tip, or it's just a tip. That's it's like, no, dude, there's a certain amount that it's supposed to be. But the thing is that like that shouldn't be up to them. You know what I mean? Because it's not up to you whether you serve them. You know, it's not a it's not a transaction. You know what I mean? It's not a transactional thing. You have to serve them or you're out of a job. You know what I mean? And they can and cannot decide to pay you. It's really up to them. You know what I mean? But the thing is you've done the work either way.
Well, it's up to them whether they're going to pay you, but they have to pay the bill for that food.
Well, they have to pay the bill for the food.
But the bill for that food doesn't really go to you.
Doesn't cover you.
Yeah. You only get paid $2 an hour.
Yeah. And the thing is if you're not there, then they don't get dick. They don't get anything, which is fine. There are some restaurants that have baked that out, and that's great. Let's just like have it be out in the open. You know what I mean? It's like,
we can't have slaves, so we'll get away with the absolute bare minimum that we're somehow legally still allowed to do, which is like a wage that's far below what even the low minimum wage is.
Yeah.
And allow our customers for some reason
and I don't think it's a big coincidence,
difference.
Honestly. I mean, you say that. I don't think it's a huge coincidence that most of the $2.13 an hour states are southern states.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Of course not. Of course, same thing with prison labor. And I have kind of like the same general feel about like whenever you have arguments about a living wage for jobs that people are like, well, those jobs are meant for high school kids, and it's like, well, if I go to a Wendy's and I can't necessarily be like, did a high school kid make that burger? Oh, well, then I want to pay $2 less for that burger because a high school kid made it. It's like, no, they charge me the same price whether a high school kid made it or an old man made it.
Yeah.
So it's like, pay the high school kid the same that you would pay an old man, and pay them both well. Like
yeah, there's a place I'm going to do a shout out because this guy obviously runs a tight ship. So there are some Dairy Queens around the Austin area that are called Mayfield Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
and they're different than regular Dairy Queens. And it's a franchise of this, but it's this guy, and he pays the people that work there well. Yeah, and I say that guy runs a tight ship, man. We have one. It's that one on Burnett Road, right next to my house. You know what I mean? I've never ever.
Oh, I know that.
Not been welcomed when I've walked in. It doesn't matter how busy the person is. Or, when I walk in, someone's like, "Hey, thank you for coming to Dairy Queen." Hi, and they go out of their way. There's always everyone's super nice, no matter what.
I've been to that Dairy Queen.
No one ever phones it in there. It's clean as it can be. They have. You can tell that the people that work there, a lot of them are younger people, but they're appreciated. Like there's a Employee of the Month sign. There's pictures on the walls of all the. They go a long way, and they're same thing with Wally's over there on the west side.
I love Wally's.
The same guy.
Oh, it's the same guy.
Same guy, Mayfield.
Oh, okay.
He owns the Wally's, and that's why. And the guy that it's baked into his operation. He runs a tight ship. He pays those people well, and he actually says, "He's like, we're looking for people." He's like, "You make this." I mean, I want to say it's at least. He was offering $12 an hour like years ago.
Yeah.
Way before. And that was starting, you know what I mean? Way before the $15 an hour thing, like we all have to be $15 an hour. When everybody else was offering minimum wage, he was offering $12 an hour. And now I think everything starts at $15. But I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming. I think that's what I saw. But you can tell the difference. You know what I mean? There's a difference. It's the idea that like, oh, high school kids can't do shit. They don't take their job seriously. It's just a kind of job that you fall in.
It's a stepping stone job.
Yeah, you know, it's like, sure, for some people it is, but not for everybody. Some people will work that job, you know what I mean, for several years, end up being the manager, and then end up being
right
a regional manager, and then moving through corporate, or go on to open their own restaurants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even if it is a stepping stone job, that doesn't like that. That's not an excuse to
pay them nothing.
To pay them nothing and treat them like shit. Like,
and the thing is like you will get.
That's how you breed an army of bad workers that continue to proliferate and make more bad workers.
Here's the rule of capitalism in general: you will get what you pay for.
Yeah.
No matter what, from the consumer side, from the employer side. Now, Amazon and some of those guys have figured out how to get way more than what they pay. They stretch it out. But in the end of the day, you're going to get what you pay for. If you're going to pay shit wages, you're going to get shit employees. You know what I mean? Or you're going to have good employees that don't stay very long because you're not paying, what they need. You could be a Roman citizen.
Shipping containers is worsening a shortage of shipping capacity, which is worsened by a shortage of port capacity, which is worsening the shortage of shipping containers, which itself is worsened by a shortage of truck
drivers. How much longer is
all
this?
of which is causing a shortage.
A, I don't give a shit about bubble tea, and B, I kind of get it.
It's causing shortages. Shortages. It's a vicious cycle that is only worsening as economies reopen.
All right, so it's just a crush of demand.
Of scarcity. Lumber prices in the U.S. rental car companies to sell off their old vehicles in the fall and purchase new ones in spring, but the latter half of that didn't happen this year because there's a massive global shortage of new cars, and manufacturers are simply unable to fulfill the huge orders rental car companies are asking for. You see, in spring 2020, as COVID took hold of the globe, car manufacturers canceled and reduced their orders for components as they anticipated reduced demand for new vehicles. They were right on that. Demand did go down, as it tends to during any recession, but it recovered faster than anyone imagined.
He's very sad about all of this.
Once recovery started, they'd boost component orders and manufacturing in step. The problem was that they're now at the back of the line, and for one critical component of modern automobiles, there's quite a long
game
line.
Controllers.
Computer chips are sold out everywhere. It was the perfect storm of circumstances. First, the U.S.'s trade war with China caused the country's manufacturers to
Sweet.
Thank you, Donald Trump.
Then, COVID led to production shutdowns in certain areas of the world, demand for consumer electronics exploded as people spent more time at home, and now, even the solution is causing problems, as silicon is both needed in computer chips and vaccine vials. Altogether, the reasons are complex, but the result is clear. This is why you still can't easily buy a PS5, this is why Samsung likely won't release a new Galaxy smartphone this year, and this is why you can't get a rental car in Alaska. In a twist of cruel irony, the car industry is culpable for all of this. That's because, decades ago,
it's cars.
The industry
even when it was the Bears, I knew it was them.
80 years
Classic
ago,
Mo.
as Japan emerged from World War II, Toyota had a problem. The world was marching towards further globalization, and Japan especially was starting to develop.
Oh, this is where they're going to talk about Toyota's
American car
just-in-time manufacturing.
At the time, though, had a huge cost edge over their Japanese counterparts. Especially during the post-war economic boom, demand for their vehicles was so high that American manufacturers had incredible economies of scale. Their process was batch manufacturing. At a given time, a given assembly line would build one type of one model of one vehicle exclusively. Then they'd switch to another type of another model, and so on and so forth. With this, the manufacturers could use massive production lines working at breakneck pace, unlike Toyota's. Theirs were small and slow. The domestic car market in Japan was limited, and it demanded quite a lot of variety in vehicle types. This meant that they didn't have the scale to make batch manufacturing work well, at least as well as in the US. Their inability to realize the gains of batch manufacturing meant they simply would have to have higher prices compared to their new American competitors, but there just wasn't a clear alternative. So they created one. They created the Toyota Production System. It had two core principles, starting with automation. Not automation, autonomation. It was their term for the efficient use of automation. Now, complete automation would require machines to build cars, plus diagnose any problems, plus fix those problems, but having machines fix their own problems is very complicated and very expensive. So, in their automation system, they look for only what machines can do better than humans, which in their context was most of vehicle assembly and problem diagnosis, while problem solving was left to humans. Automation was, and still is, a crucial, critical component of the Toyota production system, but it wasn't the core principle that would go on to change manufacturing fundamentally. What did was the principle of just-in-time manufacturing. All it really is this. Each step in the manufacturing process should end when the next one is ready to start. It's a pull system as opposed to a push system. Just as your coffee shop doesn't start making your latte until you ask for it, the polyvinyl butyrol resin should only leave the chemicals plant when the laminated safety glass production facility is ready to start making windshields, and it should only start making windshields when the final assembly line is ready to put all the pieces together, and it should only start putting all the pieces together when the dealership is ready to put more cars on its lot. In the view of the Toyota production system, excess inventory is waste because holding inventory costs money without making money. Elimination of excess inventory
What's
is
a cool? What is that?
The car is super
and
fucking
elimination
sweet.
of waste
What?
is what leads
That was cool. What is that?
The car?
Yeah.
That was a 2000 GT. I talked about that on an earlier stream about how fucking beautiful that car is. It has a beautiful interior too. That's so much.
Wow.
That's such a sweet car. I would love to drive it, but there's only like a handful and they all cost like millions of dollars. Yeah, this is like one of the classics, one of the great classics that I would just absolutely love to be able to sit in one day.
Kind of looks like a weird XKE.
Yeah, Jag, right?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite cars.
Yeah, it has a lot of that kind of styling. Probably perfect given the time period it was created in.
It's cool, man.
I miss cars that have kind of this kind of look, like
Yeah,
circular headlights.
I
And
agree.
safety regulations mean that we can't have front ends that are lifted up like that. That's why most modern cars have like train-looking fenders up. Cool.
I think they should reissue old cars. I think like that's, they do that in the guitar market. They release what they call vintage reissues. So it's like it's a Fender as it was like a Stratocaster, like it was made in 1961. Everything is to spec. Mills comes right off the assembly line, just like it did 1961.
You know, it would be really cool, like if they took a car like that and just replace the engine.
Yeah,
and replace the drivetrain. Maybe
added a few features to make them pass muster with regards to
emissions and whatnot. I mean, they could just put electric
safety.
motor in it, dude.
Yeah.
Like obviously, for like really like car enthusiasts, they want the combustion engine, they want the old motor,
I
they want
think,
that
honestly,
sort of stuff.
Some people, yeah, but I think if you were going to reissue them electric, people would buy the shit out of
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
Doesn't matter. Most people would be happy to drive.
Most
electric.
normal people would
Yes.
love a car like this.
Oh, dude,
that was just.
if you opened
electric.
a company that sold, like kit like models or vintage reissues, like everything was vintage. And you did like old Porsches, those rare cars like Jaguars, but with modern amenities like Apple CarPlay and fucking modern stuff in them. So you had great air conditioning, you had a great stereo, you have all that kind of stuff. Maybe the seats are a little comfortable, but it has that vintage vibe. People would die. They eat that shit up. You know what I mean?
Another one that I really like is the 77 Toyota Celica GT. And this is one that I would definitely get. Like you said, if they just, put an electric
like
engine
that?
in it. I like this. You don't like this?
Not so much. But,
Oh man, I mean, this has a classic muscle.
It's
look,
funny,
though.
it totally does. It totally has. The Japanese guys are like, okay, what are they doing over there? They're like, now we can't make them as big, and we're gonna need to make them smaller, but we can do the fastback.
That's my
We can do
perfect
that.
thing, though. Like, I
It's
don't
basically
like
like a Dodge Charger that you just like
Squish
shrunk
it all.
down, you know.
which is perfect because the Dodge Charger, in my view, is too big and unwieldy, and I don't want to pilot a boat. I want to drive a car. So this is like perfect.
What is that? What is that over there on the left? Down that gray thing right there.
This?
Up, that thing.
It's the same thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Same.
looks a little different.
I think it just has a different body kit
Well,
on it.
that one's pretty dope.
Yeah, this has a different body kit. It has bigger fender flares. I don't know if the wheels are smaller. I think the fender flares are just way bigger, and it
The
makes the
front
wheels
looks
look
different.
smaller.
It could just be the angle.
It looks like a Dodge style hood right here.
It's totally a Charger. Just
Yeah.
like it's like a Japanese version of a Charger from back in the day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, and Chargers got comically large. Like the ones from the 70s, dude.
Those things are
they're
way
so
too
big.
big.
They're fast if you want to drive in a straight line, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. They're comically large. There's a bunch of
Production
Porsches in that.
efficiency. This system
I like those
worked.
70s and
In
late
the early
60s
1950s.
Porsches.
Did I ever show you my car?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So have you done any more stuff on it?
No, I gotta wait until I can recoup my money a little bit.
Project Fixer.
Yeah.
Toyota was on the brink of bankruptcy. Today, the company is the largest auto manufacturer in the world, and the principles of the Toyota production system can be found in any business textbook. Just-in-time manufacturing is no longer an innovation, it's the norm. Articles aren't written about companies implementing just-in-time. They're written about those that don't. In fact, just-in-time has become even more integral today. If there are 6 steps in a manufacturing process and each holds 2 months of inventory, it would take a year to pivot to producing a new product. The short product life cycles of today's technology industry would not accept that. Just-in-time is such a simple principle, but the pursuit of the elimination of waste is now the central mission of any major manufacturer. However, most did it wrong. Manufacturers globally saw the headline: elimination of inventory leads to massive efficiency gains, and jumped on that without actually determining what made it work for Toyota. They ignored that Japan's small physical size made for short domestic supply chains less vulnerable to things going wrong. They ignored the company's production leveling, finding the average daily demand and producing that regardless of short-term changes in demand. They ignored the fact that eliminating excess inventory is different from eliminating all inventory. They ignored the principle of growing strong teams of cross-functional workers predicated on respecting people.
I think that's they ignored treating people right.
Yeah.
Fuck all that. We don't need any of that.
Yeah, respect.
Problems to get things right the first time. They ignored huge swaths of the Toyota way and created a system that's less effective and less resilient, but can impress shareholders through short-term savings. How Toyota has affected reading the covers. Even Toyota, though, is not perfect. In 2011, Japan was rocked by a 9.0 magnitude.
Was that Toyota's fault?
The
Holy
fourth
shit.
strongest ever recorded.
God damn you, Toyota.
Yeah.
Not only did this cause
Even when it was
immense
the Bears, I knew it
destruction
was
to
them.
life and property, it also led Toyota to recognize a flaw in its own system. As Japan recovered, some supply chains were quick to as well. For example, securing plastic resin for door panel production is not difficult. There are plenty of manufacturers globally creating easily substitutable alternatives.
There you go, boba
That's
tea.
not the case
Boba
with,
tea.
say, semiconductors. The hugely expensive facilities that create these chips require years to construct, and after the 2011 earthquake, it took many months to mend them back to operating status. This surfaced a truth that had never been fully considered. Not all supply chains are made equal. Plastic resin can handle supply chain disruption. Semiconductors cannot. Therefore, Toyota made changes. All along, their mission was not to eliminate inventory full stop. It was to eliminate excess inventory. Supply chain disruption is inevitable. It's inevitable in the same way that Titanic's flawed design would eventually encounter an iceberg, or the structural economic vulnerabilities of 2008 would eventually collide with a market panic. Therefore, semiconductor inventory is not excess because, inevitably, due to the inevitability of disruption, excess semiconductor inventory will eventually become necessary. Recognizing this, Toyota, in recent years, has started to build up a stockpile of 2 to 6 months.
So they're
worth
just
of
sitting on
chips,
some
and
chips
Toyota
over there?
Company is the only major vehicle manufacturer that is unfazed by the semiconductor shortage. Toyota followed its own principles. It did not stray from them, and it did not reinvent them. It's no surprise that Toyota excels at implementing its own system, but it is a surprise that the entire manufacturing world has so wholeheartedly embraced flawed implementation of the system. The reality is that just-in-time manufacturing is more efficient, but some think that that efficiency must come with a trade-off in resilience. That's simply not true. Proper just-in-time supply chains must inherently be inflexible once formed, but their form is flexible. It's a philosophy, not an equation. Shortages in an economy are incredibly complex, and any explanation of them is an oversimplification, but just-in-time manufacturing does not have to be the cause. In addition, disruption is inevitable, so it can't be the cause. You can't blame the fact that your house is sinking on the fact that you built it in the ocean. A ruthless pursuit of short-term profit at the expense of long-term gain is the cause.
I mean, not if you build it in the ocean.
Running as
Why'd you
close
build it in
as
the
possible
ocean?
to the edge is the
Well, yeah,
most
but
efficient manner to manufacture.
The fact that the house is sinking is because it's in the ocean.
Yeah, but it's in the ocean because you built it there.
Yeah.
That was like a flawed decision from the start.
Sure.
So you can't really blame that it's sinking on the fact that you made a flawed decision from the start.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, but the very nature of the fact that it's the ocean is the reason your house is sinking. You know, yes, if you didn't, maybe if you were blind, no one would build a house in the ocean.
Well, I mean, you know.
It's like,
I mean, to your point, yeah, you can. I mean, it's sinking in the ocean. That's the ocean that's causing it to sink. You can if you want.
I mean, the very nature of the ocean is the reason it's sinking. Why you built a house there is, that's a whole other debate.
Unless you built it on a coastline and the oceans rose.
That's another video.
Yeah, it's a totally different video.
Constructing a resilient supply chain requires long-term thinking, but most companies have not nurtured an environment that allows...
Whatever, dude. Leave Reese's alone.
Many will ditch what they call just-in-time manufacturing, as the alternative is to accept that the very people in charge of those companies haven't implemented it properly. To be fair, few have. And even Toyota is still learning how to best implement its own system. However, Toyota has proven that strict adherence to its principles means just-in-time manufacturing can be everything at once. It can be both efficient and resilient if one knows what is truly excess. Proper implementation of the Toyota system won't fix every shortage, but it did fix one shortage for one company. Therefore, if the auto industry had built a stockpile of critical components, if it had implemented production leveling more strictly, and if it had understood vulnerabilities in inbound supply chains, Alaska would have its rental cars. Unlike the world of physical goods, it's impossible to manufacture...
Oh, here we go. Here's the call to action. He's like...
website domains.
Yep.
Here's where he sells he pivots to the other
pivots
thing.
to the hard sell.
Yeah.
I could sense those things coming. I mean, that was interesting. I didn't quite know what just-in-time manufacturing was, but that makes perfect sense, though. All right, let's watch this one. I'm gonna get another drink. Let's look at this Great Resignation shit. See if it makes us want to quit our jobs.
Americans are reassessing the way they work. According to an August 2021 poll, more than half of workers surveyed said they plan to look for a new job in the...
No, this is NBC, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, CNBC.
coming year. 56% of respondents said adjustable working hours and remote work were a priority. And while some people have left the workforce entirely, job security and better pay are also top concerns for employees.
Something more stable, something that I can provide where I don't have to go to work and be like, oh, is he gonna, am I gonna get fired today? Or is he not gonna be happy with, the service?
In August 2021,
Waitress and bartender.
3 million Americans quit their job. The resignation rate hit a 20-year high of 2.9%. Working women have faced an even heavier burden, juggling childcare duties, virtual schooling, and their careers.
We're all able to take a step back in the last year and spend more time doing other things and really question the value of what we're doing at work. A number of people have made the decision, I need to make a change. I need to simplify.
Dubbed the Great Resignation, the exodus of workers has left millions of jobs unfilled and created hiring challenges for companies. So what does the realignment of the workforce mean for employees and businesses? And what steps should you take before quitting your job?
Make sure you have money. I can't stress
this enough. Yeah, exactly. Like, make sure you aren't broke.
Yeah.
If you're broke, this shit's gonna suck real fast.
You're gonna need to stay in your job. Pretty soon you'll be sucking dick.
You don't watch Seinfeld, do you?
Oh, I've watched, yeah. I don't watch it right now. watched every episode.
It's like that one where George quit his job.
Which one?
Oh God, let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Some of like the first season.
This is it. I'm done. Through. It's over. I'm gone. Finished. Over. I will never work for you again. Look at you. You think you're an important man? Is that what you think? You are a laughing stock. You are a joke. These people are laughing at you. You're nothing. You have no brains, no ability, nothing. I quit. I quit my job.
Get out of here.
Couldn't take it anymore.
You can have this on Monday. What happened, Levitan?
I go in to use his private bathroom. Everybody uses it. And then I get a memo telling me to use the men's room in the hall. I mean, we share it with Pace Electronics. It's disgusting.
You and your toilets.
It was the last straw.
So what are you gonna do now? You gonna look for something else in real estate?
Nobody's hiring now. The market's terrible.
What are you gonna do?
I like sports. I could do something in sports.
And then he just goes back and pretends like he never quit.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
Quit. What quit? Who quit?
Ava, what happened to you Friday afternoon?
Oh, I got tied up.
I'll bet you did.
Whoa, hey, that hasn't aged well.
Nope.
Is that Costanza over there?
What
What are you doing here?
What?
Am I crazy? Or didn't you quit?
When?
Friday.
Oh, what? That? Are you kidding? Quit? Why? You took that seriously.
You mean laughing stock, all that stuff?
Come on, will you stop it?
No brains, no ability?
Teasing. What?
Okay. I want you out of here.
I don't know where you're getting this from. You're serious, aren't you? Oh. You see, you don't know my sense of humor. I mean, Dan, don't I joke around all the time?
I wouldn't say all the time.
You can't beat me. That's why I'm here and you're there. Because I'm a winner. I'll always...
If you do engage in the Great Resignation, don't Costanza out, people. Have a plan. That's the number one thing that I would say. Have money and have a plan.
Yeah, gee.
Workers are leaving their jobs in droves. In August 2021, almost 4.3 million Americans handed in their resignation, including 971,000 people working in the leisure and hospitality industry, which includes hotels and restaurants. Another 1.3 million workers were laid off or discharged by their employer. Jessica Thomas is one of those workers.
Well, they wouldn't
She
go into
spent
the Great
9 years in
Resignation.
the restaurant
No,
business
they wouldn't.
in
That's
New Jersey.
not exactly a resignation.
You shouldn't count those guys.
Customers avoiding done.
Yeah, I resigned. I resigned from my job when my boss
I resigned
fired
to
me.
not being able to have steak whenever I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a real thing.
Shut its doors in the spring of 2020, leaving her without a job and a paycheck.
But also in that industry, if you're not working, you're not making money. So there are no sick days. There's no vacation time. There's no health insurance.
Uncertain when her job would restart, the mother of 3 found herself at home relying on unemployment benefits. Her husband, Derek, who works as a bartender, faced a similar dilemma.
A lot of people took the time that, when you had the time off and you were...
That guy looks like a New York Jets fan.
He kind of looks like a Derek, too.
From the owner until I think it was a day before when he was okay, we're reopening. There was no communication, nothing. So for me, that kind of just made me want to get out of that industry.
In August 2021, the separation rate for hotel and food service workers, which includes quits, layoffs, and retirements, increased to 8.3% from 6.7% the month prior.
Yeah.
And while the pandemic has caused a severe blow to employment overall, it has especially impacted working mothers. As of January 2021, there were 18.5 million U.S. mothers living with their school-aged children while actively working, 8% less than a year earlier. On the advice of her brother-in-law, Jessica applied for a job at the port of Newark, New Jersey, home to the East Coast's busiest port.
When I went in, the gentleman at the door said, you're at the wrong building. And I said, no, I'm at the right place. He goes, no, the nurses for the COVID testing is the other building. I said, no, I'm here to apply to be a longshore woman.
In Jessica's new job as a longshorewoman, she helps load and unload cargo ships and bring in electronics.
They need people.
She's part of the solution now.
Yeah, she is, dude. That's the thing. That's
1,700 Toyotas off of a ship.
Toyotas! Holy shit! It goes.
It's
full
all
circle.
coming
Drive
together.
the car off, get back in the van, go back up, drive the car off until the ship's done. Nobody leaves until the ship's complete.
Fuck yeah, like that puts me in mind. You're not gonna get this, but there's a Dreamcast game called Shenmue. And at one point, it's such a weird game. It's like a role-playing game that takes place in the 80s, and like, you're this kid whose dad is like a
It was a big
master.
title, right?
It was a big title.
I remember that game. I never played it, but I remember seeing it, thinking like, what's going on here? The Dreamcast failed.
And this is the music that played when you're driving that forklift, working on the dock. Yeah, she was getting it done, living that Shenmue dream.
We got done at 5, and you get back in the van, go back up, drive the car off until the ship's done. Nobody leaves until the ship's complete.
Her new job also gave her a salary.
Okay.
Double the pay of her previous.
I'm really impressed that you were able to find that exact music and juxtapose it over video with such ease.
Hey
It's,
man, I've been getting a lot of experience with juxtaposing silly music over particularly opportune moments in videos. And as soon as I saw the dock worker thing,
Jessica's new job as
it was in my head, and I just put it to stream.
You speak the meme language of the new generation.
One day I drove 1,700 Toyotas.
Where all phrases and words are actually juxtapositions and ironic seeming different combinations of ironic juxtapositions.
To a certain strata of people in my age range, this makes perfect sense. 50 years from now, this is going to be super fucking alien to whoever comes across it.
Like, instead of saying, I'm sad, you juxtapose, like, one picture over something else and say, this!
I saw something, a meme, where it was,
Darmok, when the walls fell.
It's kind of like that. It was a still from, Gone with the Wind, where, the dude says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And instead of that, like, the subtitles was, like, abbreviations. It was like, Jesus, I can't even remember what it was. Like, it ended with IDGAF. It was like something Bay, IDGAF.
Something Bay.
And and people were commenting under it like it's fucking insane that this makes perfect sense to me. Like, this doesn't even look like English language. But, like, you can read it and translate it perfectly, and it is a pretty close approximation to the actual...
Well, it's crazy if you, like, I'm not on Twitter, but, like, and I don't know if it is all of Twitter or just what they call Black Twitter, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
what they call Black Twitter. Here it is.
My wife's sister-in-law was over, and she was showing me this thread, and it wasn't a series of statements. It was just a bunch of memes, like, just a series of pictures, and it was the meaning was implicit in the picture. You knew what was. I mean, if you knew the memes, especially, you knew what the person was trying to communicate. Yeah. But it wasn't like diatribes or this is bullshit or any of that kind of stuff. It was just a series of photographs or like this has got me like in a what I mean. Me when I watch blah. It's all a series of pictures. I was like, this is like a whole new thing. This you know what I mean? That's uniquely created by Twitter and social media being such the means of communication now. Oh, yeah. This is completely created through that. It couldn't exist in any other format but this. The ubiquity of all these images and pictures and all this media and all this content.
And the language, like, it makes perfect sense. TBH, that's what it was. TBH, Bay, IDGAF. Which is a good approximation.
I wouldn't have gotten IDGAF. I mean, I probably would have. Eventually, I would have been like, "Oh, okay, I get it," but it would have taken a second.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Is that something that the kids say all the time, or is that just the
IDGAF?
Yeah. What does TLDR mean?
Too long didn't read. Damn, I am younger than this dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
With my fucking fully gray beard.
You look older than me because my beard's only
Seriously.
partially gray, and I usually keep it shaved off, but I'm like farther away from the camera. And you're like Grizzly Adams up in that shit.
Seriously.
I know. Yeah, no.
TLDR is an old one.
TLDR is one I never got, and I would never admit it. Like I would know. No one ever was in a situation where it was like Seinfeld, where like, you don't know what TLDR means. I'm like, I do, Jerry. You know, it was never that, but I never knew.
Well, now you know.
And we were on that podcast with Raya, and she was like, well, that's the TLDR for this, and I was like,
yeah.
Insurance. And according to a May 2021 survey, Jessica is not alone. Almost half of workers polled said they are rethinking the type of job they want in the future. More than half said they would retrain for a new career if they had the opportunity.
I feel like
all
I'm
of them said they
always
wanted to be
trying
famous
balance
actors.
in my life. Balancing
I thought about it.
working and
Well, in
having
fairness, she went from being a bartender to
every
a
day.
longshorewoman.
How am I going to do this? How are we going to get through this?
According to an August 2021 study, almost a third of workers at large U.S. companies said they are likely to change jobs in the coming year. Younger workers are even more likely to uproot their careers. Half of Gen Z workers, particularly those struggling with productivity and time pressure issues at work, plan to switch jobs in the coming year. According to one financial planner, there are 3 solutions to remedy a non-ideal work situation. For starters, small changes can make a big difference. The easiest and least disruptive way forward for you and your company is to tweak the job you already have.
So I would encourage employees to go have what I would call a job crafting conversation with their manager and say, I love the 60%, this 40% not so much. What can we do?
It's
And that could be
40%, damn.
Maybe you just cut back to 3
Yeah,
days.
tell me how that's gonna go.
Becomes a smaller job.
Gen Z,
Or
dude.
side hustle could be another way to cultivate experience and explore new industries.
Volunteering for a side hustle?
No, volunteering or a side hustle.
Continue
Oh.
or test out something else. In
Yeah, music industry.
Yeah, you can just volunteer
That's
there.
gonna be great. Yeah, all you'll be doing is volunteering. I got some volunteering you can do.
Seriously.
Look for a new job. But before quitting, financial planner Roger Ma advises to take a look at your financial situation.
Yeah, no
You know shit, Sherlock.
On your lifestyle.
And once you know that number, let's just say that your expenses are $50,000.
This dude needs to monitor the financial situation of his webcam here.
$1,000. Then you can start to look at what are the roles, what are the positions, what are the industries that pay that amount. It might be roles in a similar industry that you're in, or maybe you've been in your industry for a while and you're looking to pivot.
While searching for a new gig, financial advisors say it's easier to find a new job if you already have one, and it also puts you in a better position to negotiate your salary. Leaving on good terms is another tip.
Even though you may think, I will never come back to this company again, a little
This-
insurance policy.
This video kind of feels like employer propaganda. Like,
It's bullshit.
Don't quit your job. keep where you're working.
Their jobs. But what's led to the boom in resignations? Several factors, according to Anthony Klotz, associate professor of management at Texas A&M University. For starters, the pandemic forced Americans to take a
that
hard
shit's
look
the
at
worst.
their lives and reevaluate their careers.
But as a result of the deep thinking that people did during the pandemic, I reasoned that a number of them would plan life pivots coming out of that. Sometimes those life pivots would not involve a job change, but in many cases, because of how central careers are to our lives, it would necessitate a career change.
How about we change that?
Was another factor.
You know what I mean? How central careers are to our lives.
Oh yeah, I mean,
how about we change that? Like, basically, we're all just little, we're just making up something for us to do until we die. You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of the fear, right? Like, they don't want people to they want to get shit as back to normal as quickly as humanly possible,
shit.
so that not as much people come to the realization that capitalism is a scam.
They're spending time on the golf course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's the thing. It's like, of all the permutations of how a society, I understand why we ended up where we ended up on some level, because it's like, people got to do something. But holy shit, and especially when things are scarce and the night is dark and full of shadows, you know what I mean? A good job makes a lot of sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as technology moves on, it's just like, man, this is really as good as it gets. You know, I mean, a lot of people do shit. I mean, I'm lucky that I do something that I actually like. I mean, I'm generally interested in, but the trade-off for that is that, like, you know, that moment where the guy's like, what am I gonna do? He's putting the fucking calculator into the box. Like, I have a moment like that, like, once a month. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, you know, it's a bad couple of days, no one calls you, nothing's going on. But that's probably being in business for yourself. But I mean, I'm lucky that I can do that. But a lot of people just do shit that they don't. Just fucking shit they have no interest in whatsoever. Like, that chick doesn't want to be, she doesn't give a fuck about working at a dock. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. When she was a kid, you were like, what are you interested in? What are you going to be when you grow up? She wasn't like dock worker. You know what I mean? She's like, you know, maybe she's into archaeology or fucking, you know, a million other things, you know? And it's like, so a lot of those things, some of those things maybe you used to make money in, but some of them, I mean, you can't anymore for what, you know, for various reasons. But it's just like the idea that people just, like, everyone just expected that you're going to do something that you fucking remotely aren't interested in. But you can vary it up, you know, look and find out how much money you need, and then see what else you could do that's not the thing you really care about that would be great. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of people, you're absolutely spot on, but I think a lot of people also just don't know what they care about. They don't know what they like. You know? And I think for, like...
But I think, too, a lot of times that's a symptom of the greater problem.
It is a symptom of the greater problem. Like, I would like, and if I'm not saying this is anything that's feasible, in our lifetime at least, but I would like a fucking borderline Star Trek society, where it's like, we have...
Yeah, that's what Nate wants to. I mean, everybody wants to.
Well, not everyone.
Well, I think every liberal that ever watched Next Generation wants.
Well, every socialist adjacent liberal that, you know, watched Next Generation, like the idea that, you know, fiat currency doesn't exist and you just basically pursue whatever passion you wish to pursue.
Matter replicators, that's the one thing. Once you got that, that's it's dominoes. And once you can, you know, you got the sun, it's almost infinite energy. You know what I mean? And you can make matter from energy. You got a replicator.
You are never going to pry scarcity away from capitalist fingers. There will need to be a literal war for that sort of thing to happen, I think, in my opinion. Like, and that's kind of like a bummer with...
Maybe. They might just move on to things that are still scarce, right? So, say...
Well, a lot of the scarcity is artificial anyways.
You're right, but there are things that would be scarce even in the matter replicator world that is not artificial, that they could still lord over. And
but it's like, that's like kind of the purpose of this video. Like, what we're seeing now is almost like the birth of a seed of that kind of thought starting to prevail in more people, even if they haven't really gone as far as, like, here's my plan for desalinization plants and matter replicators and shit like that. Even if they haven't gone that far with the thought, like, your initial thought of, is this the best there is? Like, why build a society like this? Like, I feel like that's the thought that's starting to permeate out.
Sure.
And from there, we need to, like, make sure that... You know,
but, I mean, these guys are just talking about fucking re-rolling the dice. I mean,
no, this is CNBC. These people are, like... These people are fucking totally...
I mean, the thing is that, like...
This is not the red alert here. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked what I said, what Justin said, if you like the content we're providing, if you had any kind of laughs at all, even if you hate us, if you hate my guts, if you want to stab me, if you want to say all sorts of horrible things to me, cool. Like the video, subscribe, you'll get fed all sorts of shit you'll probably hate, and if you like us, you'll get fed all sorts of shit you probably like. So, please, and thank you.